When you're setting up your four-wheel drive's electrical system for outback touring or even weekender style four-wheel driving, it can be quite daunting because there's so many different products on the market. But what I like to do to try and work out which products you actually need and which ones you don't is to actually start off with your load. So what sort of things are you actually going to be running off your electrical system, because that'll help you determine the best setup for your application. Now, my setup with my Amarok is quite typical of a lot of four-wheel drivers. I've got a mixture of 240 volt products and 12 volt products that need a lot of power through the day. We've got our 12 volt fridge here, which can also run off 240 volt, but it's more efficient on 12 volts. We've also got a 12 volt oven here, and in terms of other 12 volt products, there's often a lot of little accessories that we like to use around the campsite as well. But I also have needs for 240 volts. So that helps charge laptops, helps charge camera batteries. And even my battery powered chainsaw these days, it needs a 240 volt charger as well. So with that mixture, that means that we need an inverter that converts our 12 volts into 240 volts. But of course, with all these accessories, if I was just to draw power off my main battery or my starter battery of my four-wheel drive, that battery would pretty well die after the first night, folks, because it's not designed to take the load of all these accessories. So first of all, you need a second battery. And with that second battery, you need to isolate it from the main battery. If you don't have that second battery isolated, what happens is you will draw both down at the same time, and then you won't have enough power to start your vehicle. So what you want to do is protect that starter battery, make sure that it always stays above 12 volts, and then with that second battery, you can draw that one down with all your accessories. Now, isolating the battery is one thing, but we've got something that's a little bit smarter in our vehicle, and it is called a Redarc BCDC 1240. And what that does is it isolates that other battery, but it also allows us to charge up our second battery using solar panels. Now, I really do love solar panels because they make no noise whatsoever, and they just keep that trickle of charge going into your auxiliary battery whenever the sun is shining. And let's face it, we like to do a lot of our touring through the winter months in Central Australia where there is no shortage of blue skies and sunlight. The nice thing about this is that it is a solar blanket, so it's very compact to store. So this thing just folds up really quite easily and takes barely any space in the back of my four-wheel drive. So yeah, these panels really do just allow you to extend your touring range to as long as you want to go, because they always keep a little bit of grunt in that battery. Speaking of batteries, the style of battery we use is different to your starter battery. So your starter battery provides a lot of grunt for a short amount of time. We don't want that. We want a small amount of grunt over a long amount of time. And in that case, we're after what's called a deep cycle battery. Probably the most common that four-wheel drives use is called an AGM battery, or an absorbed glass matte battery, or simply a lead acid battery. They're two of the most common. I tend to use quite a bit of power in my four-wheel drive, and this season I've actually experimented with a lithium style battery. The nice thing about the lithiums are the fact that they've got a far better charge profile, so you can actually discharge them a lot deeper. I guess you can use a lot more capacity in that battery, and they also charge up a lot quicker, and they're a little bit lighter than your regular batteries as well. So there's a bunch of advantages there. Disadvantages are that they are more expensive than your regular batteries, and also they've got a little monitor in them that says that if they go past a certain charge, they do need to be just quickly jump started to kick them over again. Okay, so we've covered off inverters and solar panels and isolating that second battery, but I really find that it's great to have a monitoring system for those as well. So having some accurate gauges that actually tell you what's happening in that battery system, because when we go four-wheel driving, all sorts of things can happen. You can have battery terminals shaking loose, you can have alternators not working and not charging things properly. There's all manner of little issues that can pop up. And the beauty of having those gauges is that it is an early warning system that something might be going wrong. So you might find that, hang on, that's not charging properly, I can see that that's not happening. You might also find that your batteries aren't discharging at all, and that's simply because your fridge plug has fallen out. So you could have food going off. So it's that early warning system that lets you know what your batteries are doing and what your charging system's doing at all times.